agakatuuka okuva Rwanda ne Congo ebigambo byasobye dda General Museveni ne munywanyi we Paul Kagame bibasiba bikutuka anti munywanyi waabwe okumala ebbanga eddene Putin owa Russia abavuddemu abasuddewo agenze kuwagira South Africa munywanyi waayo begatte ku Democratic Republic of Congo bakube ejje lya Rwanda era M23 ne Uganda balimale e Congo era ne Rwanda bagitwale bajjemu ebyobugagga byabadde ebbanga eddene babize mu ggwanga lya Congo ate gyonna gye bagenda beekweka aba M23 bajja Uganda bajja Rwanda bagenda kubano nayo ate nesindisa amaaso amakambwe esindisa ennyonyi ziri zitakubwa esindisa abajasi bali abakambwe abakakali era nga batuusedde Congo begase kujjira South Africa eriri mu kubobotoza Rwanda ne Uganda nga ekigambo kyalanisedde okutokota ate nno munywanyi Paulo Kagame agambye tagenda kubikkiriza lwaki Russia emusuddewo aye ne yegatta ku Congo okugijonyesa kati nalimiranga alimbiwo bibeerere so tugende Congo nkuwe ku video nao byerabireko otegere nti namusa yatusedda ku nnyoge mukama alabika atandise tulwanirako banna Uganda.
Hi there. So yesterday I made this video that I referenced to a letter that was written by the government of Rwanda on Sunday, kind of protesting to the African Union not to provide financing or any form of funding to the South African development community.
Kati national ekiriwo African Union yavudde mu Uganda nayo neva mu Rwanda yagenze negata nayo ku Congo wamu Nigeria South Africa kati General Museveni ne Kagame basigaddewe bati babiri bokka tebakyalina support gye balina kuva walala yonna kubanga n'Amerika yabesambako kakati nno ogenda kuwulira embaga kuwuliriza gwa katambi nga bwe tugenda maaso tweyongera okumanya agave Congo eyo wandibanga wagenda kuvaayo ekibaluka gutandika okutereeza ebigambo.
Troops that are supposed to be helping Congo to fight these M23 rebels that everyone knows are backed by Rwanda. So they were protesting. And in the letter, actually, they were saying that they were not invited in that virtual meeting. Now, the meeting was about this security situation in Congo. And I think Congo had requested the African Union to have this meeting so that they can come up with a mechanism on how to basically finance this operation to fight these Rwandan-backed and Ugandan-supported rebels in Congo. Anyway, so I made that video and there was a lot of discussion and a lot of comments which I'm going to show you in a short while. But before I do that, I'm also going to play a short clip from one of the African TVs there.
Rwanda is asking the African Union to reconsider its intended support for the SADC military mission. Why is Kigali taking this decision?
And I also want to mention something that you're looking at the screen before I do all that. What you see there is the province of Kivu, the North Kivu, not the South, because the South Kivu is the other one you're seeing there. So the North Kivu, as you can see, it's actually larger than Rwanda itself. As a matter of fact, if you are keen, it's almost the same size of both Rwanda and Burundi. If you put Rwanda and Burundi together, you go and juxtapose them on top of North Kivu, it's the same size. So it's a huge area. But of course, when it comes to how Congo is, it's a very tiny area of part of Congo. But it's a huge area. And for me, after following the issue in North Kivu, it's like Rwanda considers North Kivu or part of North Kivu as now part of Rwanda. They really feel in their mind that the territories of North Kivu should belong to Rwanda. If they can do it, they wish to extend their borders in this territory. The same thing applies to Uganda. Uganda somehow feels that with their fast growing population, they need to annex this part from Congo. And I've heard from someone from Rwanda actually suggesting that North Kivu should belong to the Tutsis. Now, there's this minority group community in both Burundi and Rwanda and part of East Congo. called the Tutsi, which you know. So they want their homeland, and they've identified both North and South Kivu to have this as the Tutsi region. And they actually want other communities to leave these territories. They want mostly the Bantu communities to exit from this region so that this can be an ancestral land for the Tutsis. That is in their mind. That's what they think. If you look at the comments that they make on Twitter. So that's why I made that video. And the reason why I was making that video was because Rwanda feels entitled when it comes to North Kivu. It's as if it is part of their territory. The way they talk, the arrogance, the audacity to even threaten the African Union, it's as if we are talking about Rwandan territory. So someone actually in this comment gave it a very nice analogy, a comparison. He says, imagine you hire a security or a watchman or a guard to protect your own children and home, but suddenly your neighbors start protesting. Can you imagine? As a matter of fact, he should have gone ahead to say, your neighbor who has been harassing your children and stealing from your home starts protesting. You understand the analogy? Imagine you hire a guard or a security guard to guard your home and children, but suddenly your neighbor who you actually you have evidence from your CCTV that he has been crossing the fence to your homestead to steal your clothes, and he has also been harassing your children, right? Starts protesting that you've hired guards, and somehow he starts, going to the authorities that you're hiring watchmen, something like that. So of course a lot of people they have said that is called madness. Yes, of course Rwanda is mad, and just most people are saying this is a perfect analogy. It's funny, by the way. Congo is talking about how they can bring peace to their people. The president of Congo promised the people of this region during the campaigns in December that he's going to ensure they get peace. People from North Kivu have been seen on videos crying that kwani sisi sio watoto wa Mungu, saying that are we not children of God, or are we children of a lesser God? Why do we have to suffer while the world watches? So I've seen videos from some women in Congo crying on video. And Congo is trying to find a solution to bring peace to these people. And don't forget, the Constitution of Congo actually mandates every Congolese person, including those in government like the president, to ensure that every Congolese person is safe. So it's a call from the Constitution to do that. It's not like the president Felix Tshisekedi is doing it for fun. It is the Constitution of Congo that is telling him to do that. So when they meet with the African Union to discuss how they're going to do it, the neighboring country protests as if it is their security they are talking about, as if it is their people they are talking about, as if it is their territory they are discussing. They come uninvited in a wedding that is not or has nothing to do with them. So that's why I made that video. So I'm going to play that part so that you see the mentality of Rwandan people. There's a journalist on this clip who has been asked about that issue, and instead of going straight to the point and giving mature comments, he's talking about FDLR. FDLR is part of Congolese army, and FDLR this, FDLR that. We know today Congo has an army of about 200,000 people. So are they going to tell us that those 200,000 soldiers from Congo are FDLR? Are they going to tell us Wazalendo is FDLR? Look, I've said this many times before if you've been following my videos, but bottom line is that's what the Rwandans think. They think that North Kivu is part of Rwanda, and if you ask them why do you say that, and if you ask them to bring any evidence, they start talking about FDLR this, FDLR that. And don't forget, these FDLR are Hutus who came from Rwanda. Instead of Rwanda asking Congo to send them back to Rwanda, they are saying FDLR this. Those Hutus should go back to Rwanda. Rwanda has refused for those guys to go back to Rwanda. Wherever they are, I'm sure they are deep inside Congo. They are not operating along the border with Rwanda. But they don't want those people, and they keep lying to the world that those people are part of the Congolese army. So I want to play that clip so that you understand what I'm saying. But again, I want to thank the people who comment on these videos, because you get to understand what other people are feeling. For example, someone here is saying even FDLR, Genocide, Rwanda keeps singing about has not attacked Rwanda, so why even mention them? In fact, that years on, most people who committed that genocide in Rwanda are actually, most of them are dead or too old to be active or to be a threat to Rwanda. That's what I say. I keep saying the genocide happened 30 years ago. We know Paul Kagame was part of the reason why it happened. He started it. He shot down a presidential plane. And the soldiers of that government in 1994, if they are in their mid-20s, early 30s, 40s, today they are 70, 80 years. You expect to tell me that an army of an 80-year-old grandfathers is a threat to Rwanda? That is not true. So he keeps using that name. He has been using it to eat from the foreign aid he gets from the white people. And he hasn't come up with another trick. So that's why every time you ask them, they talk of FDLR this, FDLR that. So, as I said, I thank you for the comments. It usually shines on the ideas I have about the whole situation of this conflict. There's this guy, by the way, Archduke, is from Europe. He has always followed my channel and he's a good guy. Sometimes I appreciate external opinions from people who are not even part of what is going on. And let me read what he said. First, Kagame starts with Congo, then Burundi, now the entire African Union. Kagame is slowly self-destructing. Now, this is an external opinion. If someone from outside is saying this, someone actually said he also has problems with Tanzania. By the way, Paul Kagame almost went to war with the previous Tanzanian president, Kikwete, right? You remember in the year 2010, he threatened to invade Tanzania. This tiny country here, invading the mighty Tanzania, this one here. It's just crazy, man. So let me play that video and then I end that video, this whole video basically.
With you, Ethan, Rwanda is asking the African Union to reconsider its intended support for the SADC military mission. Why is Kigali taking this decision?
Hannah, a letter addressed to the African Union chairperson, Faki Mahamat, on the 4th, which was actually yesterday, says Rwanda is protesting, first of all, the meeting that is happening, and also the fact that SADC is going to be fighting alongside an armed group that is opposed to the Rwandan government, and that's the FDLR, the Liberation Army. That
please get out of here. Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
Ebyo nno byebiri mu ggwanga lya Congo Democratic Republic eya Congo kiro byebiriyo omukulu Paulo Kagame ne munywanyi we General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni ebigambo si birungi gye bali era nga owulira bino ggwanga lya Russia nagamye dali lyayingidde dda mu nsonga zino ayatwala akatambi kano ofune eddala Russia egamba ki Russia lwaki eyingidde mu bintu bino lwaki evudde mu Museveni ne Kagame nawulira ebiddirira mu maaso awo.
So what more can you tell us about the M23 attacks in the Rutshuru region of the eastern province of North Kivu?
Since the last week, locals of Rutshuru was alerting about the reinforcement of M23 troops in the region, and soldiers coming from Rwanda and Uganda were in Rutshuru with M23. Then yesterday early morning, it was around 5 a.m. local time, when M23 launched attacks on FRDC position. and it was only an attack which targeted 3 villages such as Somekevu, Nyanzale, and also north of Ruchuru. And many people were killed. I talked personally to a local chief in the city of Nyanzale.
Jaffa Al-Katanti is in Goma and joins us live. Jaffa Al-Katanti is in Goma and joins us live with more. Jaffa, so what more can you tell us about the M23 attacks in the Rutshuru region of the eastern province of North Kivu?
Since the last week, locals of Rutshuru was alerting about the reinforcement of M23 troops in the region, and soldiers coming from Rwanda and Uganda were in Rutshuru with M23. Then yesterday early morning was around 5 a.m. local time.
Ndozamulira soldiers from Rwanda and Uganda.
When M23 launched attacks on FRDC position, and it was only an attack which targeted 3 villages such as Somekevu, Nyanzale, and also north of Ruchuru.
Embeera nga bweri mu ggwanga lya Congo si nnyangu eri abanene ba kuno, eri General Museveni ne basajja be Paul Kagame ne gurupu yaabwe nga badde bagitambuza kuba ate ebintu byabasobyeko dda. Sibigenda kuba byangu nnyo gye bali kuba bye baasuubira kate si bye birigenda mu maaso, si bye biriwo. Abali bamanyi bajja kufuna sapooti y'abantu, sapooti y'abantu bangi, babawagire, babawe vibe, bakole ekintu kyabwe mpola mpola nga bwe babba wano, bwe babba wali, bwe babba kino, bwe babba kiri. Ne kati we bituuse ebintu bibazitooweredde, byandibanga byabavudde dda mu ngalo. Kuba wewulira bino akatambi kano bakadde kakyatawanamu ne kate kanga kuwe bulungi bwe nti eggwanga lya Russia limaze okulangirira mu bujjuvu era ne likola n'ekiwandiiko ke katambi kano kegenda okulaga ekikakasa nti no kati Russia eri wamu ne Democratic Republic eya Congo n'eggwanga lya South Africa bakube eggye lya Rwanda n'erya Uganda agali e Congo bagafulumye ate bagagoberere paka gye ganaatuuka okubajjako.
Jaffa, so what more can you tell us about the M23 attacks in the Rutshuru region of the eastern province of North Kivu?
Since the last week, locals of Rutshuru was alerting about the reinforcement of M23 troops in the region, and soldiers coming from Rwanda and Uganda were in Rutshuru with M23. Then yesterday early morning, it was around 5 a.m. local time, when M23 launched attacks on FRDC position, and it was only an attack which targeted 3 villages such as Somekevu, Nyanzale, and also north of Ruchuru, and many people were killed. I talked personally to a local chief in the city of Nyanzale who said that more than 13 people were killed in a family and other people were injured. Even also the hospital in Kibirizi was also targeted with rockets. And this made many people to flee from their villages to other cities. And unfortunately, it's because that zone is close to Goma, which is the major city of the eastern Congo. So locals of that zone have to flee in other villages where they don't have any supply, no sanitation, no water, no food, no even good roads to help humanitarian to support them.
So Jaffa, what is the humanitarian and security situation in the region as we speak?
In general, the global situation is worse, and just now, the civil society of North Kivu has declared that the humanitarian situation is catastrophic because these people, since more than 1 month, there was not any support for former IDP and even for new IDPs. And as now we know that yesterday there was new clashes, new fighting zone. So we have recent IDPs who are added to those who doesn't have anything. And we have now in Goma a team coming from Kinshasa. The Minister of Social Affairs came to see IDPs, to visit them, and then he said he will bring help, a humanitarian help from the government, but IDP is still waiting for that support.
Well, the attacks came after top army commanders from the Southern African region visited the conflict-hit eastern part. Do we know where the commanders are now, and has there been a response to M23 attacks by the government and SADC forces?
The visit of Chief of Staff of the SADC Army has already taken over, and officers has already come back to their countries. And I was in their visit, and they said that at the end of their visit, they said that it was in order to see on field and talk to their men to see how they will coordinate the real offensive against M23, because now M23 is so stronger as they have the Rwandan support and they have weapons which can destroy even Congolese aircraft. So these chiefs of armies came to look for themselves and to figure out a way to do a new offensive in another way of things, and to make end of this aggression of Rwanda and M23 in the eastern DRC.
Russian government approves draft agreement on military cooperation with DRC. It provides for the organization of joint drills and exercises, participation in and monitoring drills at the invitation of relevant agencies, visits by warships and warplanes at an invitation or request, training of the military and other formats of cooperation. Moscow, March 5th. TASS. Russia's government has approved a draft military cooperation agreement with the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, according to a relevant government resolution that was posted on the official portal of legal information. In conformity with Article 11 of the Federal Law on Russia's international agreements, to approve the draft agreement on military cooperation with the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which was submitted by the Russian Defense Ministry upon coordination with the Russian Foreign Ministry and other federal executive bodies concerned. The document says. The agreement is also available on the portal. Thus, it provides for the organization of joint drills and exercises, participation in and monitoring drills at the invitation of relevant agencies, visits by warships and warplanes at an invitation or request, training of the military and other formats of cooperation. The government of Rwanda has called on the United African Community not to support the Southern African Community Mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, known as SAMI-DRC, informing it that doing so would amount to pouring oil on fire. On March 4th, 2024, a meeting of the AU Peace and Security Council took place, which is considering support for the SADCC and seeking assistance from the African Union and other partners. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation, Dr. Vincent Biruta, wrote a letter to the AU on March 3rd, 2024, conveying Rwanda's wishes even though he was not invited to this meeting. Minister Biruta informed the AU Commission that SADCC forces joining forces with the DRC State Defense Forces poses a problem for Rwanda's security. He explained that this group includes groups linked to genocide ideology, including the FDLR and another in Wazalendo, the Burundian Army, European Liberators, and independent military groups, including one with links to the former, called Bummi Blackwater, as the report shows, of UN experts published in December 2023. He said, "The SADCC, as the force that distributes attacks in this forum that includes all of these groups, will not replace the political dialogue that has been blocked by the DRC government. Therefore, we call on the United African Union not to recognize or support SADCC." Minister Biruta reminded the AU Commission that the war in the DRC has been witnessed since July 1994, when former members of the state who participated in the genocide against the Tutsis and the Interahamwe fled to the DRC when it was called Zaire. The government of the country gave them weapons and helped them fight until they created a movement. The FDLR intends to destabilize Rwanda and continues its plan to sow genocide ideology in the DRC. He explained that the genocide ideology perpetrated by the FDLR is the reason why Congolese Tutsis were victims of crimes. Some were killed, and hundreds of thousands of others fled to Rwanda and other countries in the region. Minister Biruta said that the DRC government did not accept the dialogue process as a means of finding a solution to the conflict in that country, but had indicated the option of war by deciding to expel the East African Community EAC troops, had gone to stop fighting. He also explained that SADCC troops went to eastern DRC to support the stubbornness of the country's leaders who were not respecting the peace resolutions reached in Nairobi and Luanda in 2022. They have a conspiracy minister, Biruta, informed the AU Commission that the FDLR, DRC President Felix Tshisekedi, and Burundi's Evariste Ndayishimiye intend to overthrow the government of Rwanda, as they have publicly announced in recent days. He explained that these remarks were appreciated by the government of Rwanda based on the cooperation of these parties in the ongoing war in the DRC, in addition to the fact that Burundi cooperated with the CNRD-FLN armed group. He recalled that the war in the DRC continues due to the fact that the international community has violated its root causes, including the aid provided to groups with genocide ideology, the refusal to resolve the problems of the Congolese Tutsis by the government of the DRC, and the refusal to transfer its citizens who fled to the region, including more than 100,000 people, to Rwanda. He explained that the assistance SADCC would receive from the AU and these partners would prolong the ongoing war and support the DRC government, which has rejected the process of resolving the conflict through peace talks. He said, "The government of Rwanda requests the Director General of the AU Commission to use his authority, asking the government of the DRC to follow the path of peace through the Nairobi and Luanda." Minister Biruta asked members of the AU Peace and Security Council to go to the Great Lakes region and look at the truth on the web to find out the real information about this war, assuring the chairperson of the Commission of the AU that Rwanda is ready to contribute. Looking for the answer to this question, China has expressed its position on the issue of Rwanda and the DRC Chinese ambassador to Rwanda. Wang Shuikun announced that his country supports the Luanda and Nairobi agreements, which determine how problems in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo should be resolved and the methods used to break the bad atmosphere between these two agreements. Country and Rwanda. In a media interview on March 5, 2024, Ambassador Wang Shuikun said that China is a friend to all countries in the region and therefore wants these countries to get along well. This is a subject to which he returned after being questioned by a journalist on what his country was doing to calm the bad atmosphere between Rwanda and Congo. Ambassador Wang said, "We will continue to uphold the principle of international cooperation, but we will also continue to participate in finding solutions to the problems in the Great Lakes region, and we encourage all countries in the region to resolve conflicts through peaceful dialogue and negotiation. advice. Ambassador Wang Shuikun said his country supports the negotiations between Nairobi and Luanda. He said, "We see that many organizations, including the African Union, have contributed to the resolution of this conflict. In fact, China will welcome and support the Luanda and Nairobi talks, which were attended by international organizations and the United African Union." Ambassador Wang Shuikun also said his country will continue to discuss with Rwanda and other countries in the region to find a solution to these problems. He said, "We are willing to play an active role in finding a solution to the region's problems, and our efforts are visible and ready to be accepted by the countries of the region." On November 23, 2022, a meeting of heads of state was held in Luanda, Angola, to study the problems of insecurity in eastern DRC. He made the decision that the M23 rebels should lay down their arms during this new stage. The participants in the meeting ordered that all attacks be stopped, in particular those of the M23 against the forces of the DRC and MONUSCO from November 25, 2022 at 6 UAS p.m. The meeting also decided that soldiers of the EAC joint forces would continue to be sent to the DRC, and that the M23 rebels would leave the areas they captured and return to their first base in the Sabyinyo region on the side of the DRC, and a non-intrusion zone will be established with the participation of EAC, MONUSCO, and government forces. Political and military support for the M23 must end, and other armed groups, both inside and outside the country, operating in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, must also cease their activities. Terrorist groups such as the FDLR FOCA, the Red Tabara rebels, the ADF and others operating in the DRC territory have been asked to lay down their arms and start returning to their homes as decided during the talks. Nairobi. The provisions of this agreement were not implemented by the DRC government, but it immediately decided to expel the EAC forces because they refused to fight the M23. This message from Wang Shuikun came hours after Rwanda wrote to the United African Union, showing that the DRC government did not accept the dialogue process as a way to find a solution to the conflict in that country, but rather indicated the option of war. Decided to expel the East African Community EAC troops who had gone to stop the fighting. From there, Rwanda asked the United African Community not to support the Southern African Community Mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, known as SADCC, informing it that doing so would amount to throwing money away. Add fuel to the fire.
Congo ebiriyo byebyo si byangu. General Museveni ne munywanyi we Paulo Kagame bye basiba bikutuka ekintu kyabwe kyandiika anti omulasa abasuddewo abavuddemu kati yeegassa ate kuba naffe ab'e Congo era nga aliwamu ne South Africa munywanyi waayo okumala ebbanga eddene. Jjukira banene baagalana. South Africa erinamu ku ttooke ate ne Russia erinamu ku ttooke. Kati banguwa okukwatagana okusinga bano abalala abanoonya okubagabira ettooke. Bwe batyo nno bakwataganye South Africa awamu n'eggwanga lya Russia ne African Union bali ku bantu abo. Museveni ne Paul Kagame baguddeko olutalo sinziggu. Ebinaava eyo nze naakunyumiza gwa maaso gakuumire wano nja kubanga mbireeta nga mbikuwa osobola okutambulira wamu n'okumanya. Guno nagweyama nti nja kugezaako okubawa akasavu kanyama ebifaayo Congo eyo kuba bitukwalako direct wano e Uganda. Ekintu bwe kinaava eyo kiyinza okutuggukiramu wano, n'olwekyo mulina okutambula nga mutegeera nti Congo si birungi, n'olwekyo twetereeze nga obudde bukyali. General Museveni abasajja baamugwamu dda ne munneewe wa Rwanda abasajja babategeera dda nti be bali emabega w'ebigambo bino okubonaabona okuli mu nsi yaabwe nti General Museveni yakulya emabega ne munywanyi we Paulo Kagame. N'olwekyo byonna ebigenda mu maaso eyo bizibu bikakali bikambwemu naye nga twongere okusaba essaala tumanyi obuuli awo ekintu kiyinza okutandikira awo Congo neetereera abadde bagibba ne baddukayo ate ne gye babadde basibuka ne banonayo awo ne gujja bagira ffe twongere kusaba twongeremu just prayers zaffe Omukama Katonda abeerewo asobole okuba nga aluŋŋamya enjuyi zino naye nga si byangu nnyo naye nga tumanyi nti bijja kuggwa one day one time ensi yaffe etereere kuba nti abazungu batukozesa nnyo bo bafa ku byabwe ebibagasanga abantu tebafa ku by'abanna ba Africa kuba nagamba Congo eno ensi yonna erimu ebyobugagga 26 kata ebyobugagga 26 ya then ebyobugagga 24 biri mu ggwanga lya Congo kati awotalo luno tusimanyi no luliggwa ne katusabe atulabe ebinaavaayo ebigenda okuba nga ate biddirira ffe tuli tujja batubikutuusaako kale mbaagala nnyo mwena abaliko mwebale okubaako n'otugobereranga Omukama Dunda Lugaba Namugereka oyo nsaba bankuumire tujja kuba tuddamu tugambe ebigambo bataayi mweraba.